I was comparing myself, and it was inside myself. And I started to think, oh my God, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? This is really, really bad luck. Look at everyone else. Why this didn't happen? It's so unfair.
Right, guys, are you ready? I'm so excited because we are just about to start our first episode of the new Behind the O. So come with me. We are going now to meet our first guest. And it is our Vice President, Global Research and Development, Emma Hågemo. Hi. You said that you're nervous. Why are you nervous?
Because this is, it's a new setting for me. I'm not used to doing things like this. And that's it.
Well, I must say that we have started at Oriflame, I think the same year?
Yeah.
When did you start?
2008.
I remember you from the very first day, and then we sat quite close to each other. And now, nearly 13 years later, we're here. And you always had this special force, this special drive, this energy around you. And I actually, I always admired it. And I always thought that you would make a great success in Oriflame, but it's just, amazing to see it happen.
What I'm really happy about, and I'm very proud about, is that I had the opportunity to do many different things in this company. And this is, I think, the reason why I'm still here, why I still thrive here, why I still love being here. Because like many of us, I'm fairly impatient. I love seeing new things. I love doing new things. I love learning new things, meeting new people. And all of that is something that has actually been possible for me in Oriflame, because somehow I think we are a company that is focusing on the individual and the people, and we see the potential in people.
So what positions did you have?
My first position, my first space was very much in what I came from. So business development, being an advisor, looking at new opportunities, new markets, new concepts and so forth. So that was in the business development team where I stayed. And during that time, I got opportunity to work together with some of the more senior leaders. And this is how the opportunity came then to work on a process that we then called IBM, that we now call IBP. In that way, I got to know the business. And I think it was an excellent way of getting to know Oriflame, stakeholders, people, functions, and get that helicopter view that has been really serving me. And after IBM, I'm quite sure that I went into forecasting, actually. Started as a project, and then I got the opportunity to manage the function, which was a great opportunity for me, because until then and there, I had been an advisor, and which was my core, one can say. And there I got the opportunity to lead a small team of global professionals, a great team, and I managed to form some of that team myself, which was really good. And then we also work together with all the forecasters out there in the regions and the markets that are doing it.
So that was the first time you became a manager?
That was my first manager opportunity, yes.
Okay, and then?
I did get the opportunity to work together with the leadership team and our managers all across Oriflame, actually, to establish the strategy that we now have. But I would not say it was because of me, because I think what I did and what what I get energy from is working really together with other people. So the strategy is in no ways my words, but I did spend a considerable amount of time working together with managers all across Oriflame to establish that strategy.
Yeah, so actually, if I say that you are the person who knows the company, or one of the people who knows the company the best, that would be true, because you did a real assessment of every single corner of the company.
I do have a good helicopter view of the backbone. I call it the backbone, how we operate and how we organize more on, let's say, the global side, but also some of the regional stuff, yes.
Yeah, well, impressive. Well, and now you are Vice President of Global Research and Development after all of that. So if you're an outsider, and if you are looking at your career, it's like you're like a power woman, Captain Marvel of Oriflame, and this energy, this drive, Emma always finds the gaps, finds new projects. Emma wants something all the time. I mean, have you always been like this? And, where does that come from? And have you ever experienced a failure? Because everything you told me so far, it's sort of quite a success.
I had lots of failures. However, I think one of my things is that I'm really, as I'm always seeking, the opportunity to change, positive change. I don't think I'm very afraid of failing. I think that's a little bit one of my things is that I am daring, and I think I'm now in a culture that allows me to be daring. That is, I think, really the marriage between myself and Oriflame is that I really thrive in a situation where I can try new things and look for that betterment without being punished if things are not working out. So I would say there are lots of failures, but I learned something. Hopefully I learned something.
Absolutely.
From most of them, yeah.
But then I understand your career progress after the university, because I know when you came to us, you told me that you came from McKinsey. And I remember looking at this clever girl and thinking, oh my God, McKinsey, they work 60 hours a week, and they are like the cleverest people on earth. So now I understand how you ended up there. So how was your life there? Why did you decide to change the track? McKinsey is like every person's dream.
I think I could not have asked for a better start for my career. Really, I spent 3 years in McKinsey, so not too long, but I learned so much about myself, and I learned also many good tools that I'm still leveraging today. The challenge for me back then was the combination of working very hard. You mentioned 60 hours because this is what I talk about, but in my reality it was more than that.
Okay.
So working really hard with lack of sleep, lack of confidence, I would say, because everyone around you was so fantastic and great. And working really hard and all of that in combination with not having the supporters around you that believed in you and that supported you. And why did this happen then? Well, because I was so focused on exploring new things and grabbing all the different opportunities. So I never built my base. I never built my tribe. And then some people told me, but Emma, you should probably focus on building your supporters now. You should probably focus on continuing working with some of those partners and project managers that you've been working on to build that network so that you get supporters.
So did it backfire somehow for you?
It did, because at one point there, year 2 or so, I was working with a company that was the first time McKinsey worked for this company. It was a big Swedish company, so it was a very important client, first time we worked with them. And I was based in Italy, and because the Swedish client had some business in Italy. And I was there in a new context and a new team. And I made a mistake. I was responsible for a very important analysis, and in order to drive that analysis, I had a huge Excel model, huge one. And there was one cell in that model that was programmed in the wrong way. It was wrong, right? And I got that cell from an expert in turn. But I was responsible for that model. And the result of this is that what I proposed to my, let's say, project manager, who proposed that to our partner who was presenting it from this important client, was completely wrong. It didn't make sense. But we were all so stressed and we were under pressure, and it was, we were working late and went to bed at 4 a.m. So we missed it. I missed it, my project manager missed it, and my partner who presented this missed it as well. And when we presented this to the client, they were nodding. They were like, what is this? We really made ourselves like fools here. So that wasn't a good experience. And I think back then I did a mistake, and it, bad implications. I did not have the right supporters that would support me. And after that, I felt I was working a little bit headwinds, and I really tried to kind of regain the positive perception, but I didn't manage really fully, I would say. that is how I felt. So I became more and more stressed, working harder and harder and not really managing to kind of regain that positive perception. And that made me feel really, really, really stressed. And I was very close to burnout there.
Yeah. So that's when you decided to leave.
That is when I decided to leave.
And then Oriflame happened.
Then Oriflame happened, yeah.
You know, we recently in Oriflame, I mean, you know this, we had a session with a psychologist. Well, it was in regards to COVID and in regards, you know, people's feelings. And he said one thing that is really strong into my mind. And, you know, I started thinking about it quite a lot. And he said that all our drives, all our wishes, you know, everything, it actually comes from our childhood. It comes from who we are. It comes from who our parents are and what we experienced in the beginning. And I'm just wondering, who was this little Emma, you know, when you grew up? I mean, can it be that, you know, something there made you the Captain Marvel of Oriflame?
Absolutely. I mean, I think I share your view. I think lots of who we are, you can really reestablish back to your background, to your childhood. I think I was this when I was a kid. I think you can probably visualize my childhood in 3 stages. Yeah.
Okay.
The first stage was where I think the foundation of who I am was established. The first, let's say, 5, 6, 7 years, where I was part of this kind of very traditional family, had lots of love, lots of attention, siblings that were all older than I was, and that was really supporting me and just kind of loving this little baby Emma. And my parents who were giving me attention, who were listening to me, and I think those 5, 6, 7 years were really fundamental in who I am today. So that was the first stage, okay? Are you following?
Absolutely.
Second stage was a bit more, was a bit different because that was characterized by divorce. My parents divorced and...
How old were you?
6 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that divorce, from the child point of view, it was okay. There was not a big of drama. I continued to have very good kind of contact with my father. At the same time, in the second phase, I also became more aware of my face, because as you can see, I have a facial deformity, and that's something, it's called cleft lip. And that's something that I wasn't really aware, was luckily unaware of that in the beginning. I was comparing myself, and it was inside myself. And I started to think, oh my God, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? This is really, really bad luck. Look at everyone else. Why this didn't happen? It's so unfair, right? That was happening in the second stage. Although I was never really bullied or so forth, it became very apparent to me. Yeah. And then in parallel then on this other track in the second stage was when I was living with my mom, I was observing that she was struggling. She was struggling emotionally because she was left, you know, and all of what happens with this, but she was also struggling financially. We were in a house, and she wanted to stay in that house. She wanted to really make sure we had that stability in our life. And she was working so hard to make that happen. So that was something that inspired me. I had the great pleasure of living with a woman that really made everything for her children and for staying in that house and making sure we could maintain our lifestyle. But in parallel, she was kind of fighting hard for that.
Can I ask you a question? I think that the perception of Sweden is that nobody can have it hard. You know, that it's sort of like you're taken care of by the state or by, you know, I don't know, social security or whatever. Can you just describe when you say hard, you know, I mean, how hard was it?
That's a very good reflection that I have now as an adult. I mean, of course, this was still easy peasy compared to many other kids around the world. I was still very lucky because I had food and stuff. But it was just things like, if I compare to my peers, clothes, for example, that we might not afford the same clothes that my friends had, or for example, that special food that I wanted to have. I was already then kind of, when I was a kid, really loved food. And my mother, that was one of those areas that we had food, but it was no luxury because that we couldn't afford. That started an ambition inside myself that I wanted to have more. That I wanted to be able to do those trips or buy those clothes. That's, I think, a part of the drive that I had.
Well, I can believe it, absolutely. So what's the phase 3?
The phase 3 was then when we were, my mother, she met a new husband after a couple of years, and we moved to a new place. And that was disrupting when you're like 11 years old, you have your friends, you have your comfort, and then we moved to this new place. And I knew no one there. And in addition, I was then moving into a family with a new stepfather that I didn't really know. And I think then in the stage 3, when I was in a new town, the new kid on the block, and in a new family setting, I started to feel a bit lonely. From a family point of view, I did not feel that included in our family setting. I felt excluded. At the same time at school, I started to meet new friends, and all of that was fine. And I was lucky to come into a new context with new friends that would support me and all of that. But I think that stage, going from, in the stage 1, feeling very confident, being kind of the center of positive energy, the center of attention, and getting all that support and love, I started to feel more lonely.
So basically it's like exclusion again, but on a different level than before. So how did you get through that? Did you go to university to study? I mean, when did you start your own life, so to say?
Yeah, I think in the stage 3, it really was the kind of the final point what made me to what I am today, because I started to compensate that loneliness and the kind of seek for attention by being that great girl, being that good girl.
And being this clever girl.
And then I realized, okay, because for the stage 2, I didn't really care about school that much. But in the stage 3, I started to understand that I like school and I have a good foundation to really do good things. So I started to accomplish things. And I started to kind of maybe then indirectly think about achieving things that I could get that attention that I was lacking a bit.
Were you the best student in class?
Among the best students, I would say. But I was always striving towards being the best student. So there something happened. And I was then, I think, from then to now, it's not necessarily about being the best, but I wanted to accomplish things. And I love the feeling about accomplishing things together with others. And I think here and now, I think I'm starting to be very cautious about and conscious about that. And I'm starting to think about going from doing to being. And also enjoying the accomplishments more than I have done in the past.
How does it feel to be among the experts? I mean, it must be scary.
From an outside-in point of view, I think most people will say, oh my God, that's a strange progression, that's a strange career path. And I think it's the best career path one can have. So, well, I think for me, where I am in my career, in my life, it's great for me because I'm not the expert. Because again, leadership for me is very much about transforming the doing to being and allowing yourself to rely on your experts. In an R&D organization, the expertise is key, and I don't have that. So that was a very good starting point for me, because I knew from the very beginning that even if I could take myself and duplicate in 100 different versions, that would never be the right thing for R&D. Take a step back, listen to the people, meet with the people, understand where that team is here and now, and then work together with them to form the future, the vision. So in that particular task and the role I've taken on, it has been key for me to surround myself with experts and the right expertise, because the business is also changing. And then I can focus on the leadership, and I can focus on doing some of that things that I love doing in terms of gathering the team, understanding where we are, and together with them, develop the vision and then how to get there. That is my comfort zone, but the expertise is not. So that has forced me to kind of take that step back. It forces me to rather than rushing, that taking a step back, working with people, and acknowledging that I don't have the expertise, they have. How do we do this together? Okay. I don't know. So it has been a good test for me and a good space to further develop. And I'm not done yet. I have lots to develop still, but it has been a forcing mechanism for me to not do things myself, to be less task-oriented and more people and leadership-oriented, I think.
Okay, Emma, I thought that it would be great for us to go into your area of expertise now and look closer to Oriflame products. And I have a couple of questions to you there. Are you ready?
Great, I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah. So look, we're now in the Stockholm office, and this is our product room. Isn't that amazing? So Emma, this is all fantastic formulations and the different products that we have in Oriflame. Yeah. Actually, it's the full range that we have exactly everywhere. No, it's just fantastic to see it all in one place. So Emma, if I'm asking you, this is a new area for you, yes? And when you became the head of R&D, of course, you didn't know a lot about formulations. You knew about cosmetics in general, and that's what you told me. Yeah. And now, during the last couple of years, we had a couple of launches. And I just wonder, so now when you're heading the team of fantastic experts, of our scientists, is there anything that you want to highlight in this room that is especially close to your heart?
There are definitely a couple of, let's say, projects and ranges that is even closer to my heart, although I must say I am very proud of all the products. I think we have, in general, a very high level of quality on our formulas and our products. So there is a range in particular, though, that I'm very proud of, and I think is absolutely right for Oriflame, and that's our Baby O range.
All right, let's find it.
So let's find it. Where are you?
I think it's here.
It's over here.
It's
okay,
here.
It has a very good central location.
Well,
why is this key? Well, now we are in a new era. We are in an era where women, the millennial mom, including myself, is really ready to spend that little extra money on her child because she thinks it's the right thing. So that was really the ambition when we developed this absolutely gorgeous range. And the packaging is just phenomenal and all of that. From the formula point of view, the brief from the very beginning is that this should be the best you can give to your child. Nothing else is good enough. And we did lots of benchmarking all around the world, and we made sure to really, include only the best ingredients and what's really good for skin, for baby skin, and safety tested in all various ways. What we can see now is that that's really the right timing, and this beautiful range has just been launched, and I think it's not only a great range for babies and for parents, but it's also really anchoring what Oriflame is standing for. The quality, the safety, something that you can really feel proud of. So that is something that it really means a lot to me.
Shall we go into that topic? Women sort of being at home and doing careers and sort of working full times on both jobs at home and in the office. Yeah. How is it going for you? I know that, you have a top executive job. You're in the top leadership team of a company. You're actually living abroad, which comes with extra stress, you need to assimilate. Everything is new and you have 2 small kids. How are you managing?
No, but I think now we're on to what sometimes make it very difficult for women to progress in their career. And I feel I always been working in settings where I've been accepted, or where my gender, I never felt that my gender was stopping me because I was a woman. However, being a woman and doing your career and at the same time building a family, that's difficult. My God, it's difficult.
Yeah. Have you read this book of Sheryl Sandberg, Lean In?
Absolutely.
Because she actually speaks about this there. Yes, yeah. And she says that a lot of women, when they start planning the family, or for example, when they become pregnant, they actually say no to different business opportunities because they sort of lock themselves for the future.
Exactly.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's a great book, by the way, and the Lean In, right? So I think that's number one. Like a reflection that I have, a learning I have, is that if you want, first of all, do you want to do both? So that's the question you need to ask yourself. And if the answer to that is yes, I want to continue my career and building a family, you need to kind of learn how to manage that. And one tool and one way of managing is, of course, to, I think, a little bit kind of lower the expectations on yourself, because many times we are our biggest judges, or however you say. I am the one with biggest kind of, I have very high expectations on myself, and I know that many of my female colleagues do. And you just need to kind of, what's really important to you, you need to prioritize, but then you also need to grab the opportunities and don't be afraid of failing. So an example, I remember I got my big promotion to vice president when I was on maternity leave. I was sitting and breastfeeding, and then Magnus called me, and I was like, okay, wait a second. And then he offered me a promotion and a job and so forth, and I was there, and I was very much in my bubble, you know, breastfeeding, and you all know all of that. And I kind of, I told myself, oh my God, I cannot do it. Yes, you can.
I'm sorry I'm interrupting, but this is the Oriflame moment, I would say.
That's my Oriflame moment. I remember that. I mean, I really remember that moment. I was sitting in that armchair, and my friend was there as well. And I was like, oh, guess what had just happened? I just got a call. And that was not really maybe what was my focus and my context there and then. But I went for it because I have a supportive husband. It's like, of course, you should go for it. And I was in a cultural context where I felt safe in terms of failing, and that is key. And I think that's something in Oriflame that I really appreciate. So go for it and not think too much. At the same time, you need to prioritize and you need to plan. And I think a very, very important thing for me, at least, is the acknowledgement that I cannot be everywhere and I need to seek help. At work, you know, coming back to this thing, doing versus being, you know, seek up the experts, look for people to support you. You are not alone. And at home, domestically, you know, I've been very brutal in terms of buying help. I buy cleaning, I order food if that's necessary. I do try to think what's important, where do I need to spend my time, and how can I get the help from family members, and not being afraid of not being the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 person for your kids, but there are also other people in your family context that can support. And this is, of course, where my husband is just, you know, I'm lucky to have a husband who is a big supporter.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be possible without him. I think we are just we're living in this world with lots and lots of noise, right? I mean, there are so many things happening, there's so many information points, and you're just kind of meeting this wall of noise, and my God, that's sometimes very challenging. So what I always try to do, I try to simplify, I try to break down the situation into, you know, break it down into subparts, try to kind of, how can I meet this challenge? And there's one specific thing that I always do it unconsciously. It's really unconsciously. And that is that I noticed that most challenges you face, most problems in business or at home, you can break into 2 dimensions. You know, you can have more dimensions, but normally you can simplify and say there are always 2 dimensions to something, right? Are you following?
Absolutely.
So let me take an example, very simple one. So for example, we're talking about here, you and I have been speaking a lot about, you know, weight control, and then because that's a big challenge.
Well, it's a big challenge for me.
Oh yeah, for me as well, and I think for many people, especially around their 40s and upwards. So here it's about prioritization, but when it comes to eat, what I want to eat, for me to simplify, there are normally 2 dimensions. It's about you know, how good it is, how healthy it is, and it's about how nice it tastes, right? So to simplify, you can think about the calories, to be really, you know, simplified. That's one dimension, and then the value for me when I eat it, if I like it. Okay, so calories and value. So on this axis, you know, you have high calorie and you have then low calorie, and then you have high value, low value. So why is this important? Well, because it helps me to organize different food into, you know, different segments, 4 segments basically. Segmenting those things. And to take an example, let's say carrot. It's very low calorie, you know. However, I like carrots quite a lot, so I eat quite a lot of carrots. So that's something I really indulge myself with because I know I can eat it, I like it, and it's good for me, right?
Yes.
Then there are things like things that are very healthy and low calorie that I don't like, so I don't really go that territory. Then there are those things that I love, like Swedish pastry. My God, cinnamon rolls. You know, my God, I love those kind of things. All the kind of pastries. I love red wine. I love cheese. You know, very high value for me.
Exactly, high on calories.
You know, everyone tells you shouldn't eat it, you shouldn't, all those diets, don't eat. No, I don't believe in that.
Just today I will have it.
Just today, because tomorrow I'm starting my diet. No, I don't believe in that. I believe in lifelong learnings. You need to maintain. So my thing, I indulge myself with those things because it's worth it. So that's high value and high calorie. But at the same time, I always avoid the things that has high calorie and low value for me, like French fries. I don't order French fries because it's not very healthy, it's very, very high calorie, and it doesn't give me that extra I want thing like a cinnamon roll does.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit, I mean, super simple, how I kind of organize how I eat my food into this matrix.
Yeah. And then how do you apply it to the family? I suppose it's the same, isn't it? Is it, do you do your priorities for, I don't know, weekends, holidays, or
Yes.
whatever you're buying? I mean, I knowing you, I know it's a lot of applications for this matrix.
Okay, I mean, it's not like I sit down and do matrices for everything, but of course, unconsciously in your head, I mean, I guess the one that we all do, we try to do every now and then, is to really try to, what are the things I have in front of me?
Yeah.
What are the topics that are urgent, urgency, and what's important?
Yeah.
And if we don't do that, if I don't do that exercise, I end up doing the urgent stuff. And normally I end up doing the stuff that people are asking me to do.
Of course.
Sitting in all those meetings and blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I try every week, every Monday to really ask myself, what do I want to get out of this week and this month? And I make sure that there are some things that are also important and not urgent in terms of family life and in terms of business. I really try to do that.
So basically it's like a unique life hack for both business and
To everything.
leisure, correct?
Try it. I think most challenges you are meeting in life, at least for me, are two-dimensional. Then you can always, let's say, overcomplicate things, like with this value and calorie framework, you can also add, for example, cost. Because let's say I love Russian caviar and it's very, quite healthy and or low calorie, I don't know, and high value. Well, I wouldn't eat it every day because there's a cost aspect. But sometimes simplifying is the best thing, and it will guide you. At least it helps for me.
So if you look at yourself before you had kids, the Emma who wants new projects, who wants to find new things, who wants to drive, something happening all the time, and you after having your wonderful daughters, I mean, did it change you to become a mom?
Absolutely. I mean, I think few parents would say that getting kids is like a life-changing. It's a life-changing happening for sure.
For a person who sort of like drives on change, wants more all the time, how do you sort of combine it with the family when the kids want stability, when they want to root,
I mean, it's absolute. I mean, it has been a challenge for me as I'm pre-kids. I was very used to just go for it, and there were many things happening, and I had many hobbies, and I had, it was probably the diversity of things that was driving me and the number of things. And now it has forced me to be more conscious, be very much more conscious in how I spend my time. And I have had to sacrifice things I love doing, because it's worth it, because I want to refocus that time on my kids or on my work and being much more focused. And I think it has also forced me, from a positive point of view, to be more here and now, and not think too much about what happened in the past and not think too much about the future, but really being here and now, enjoying the moments, working with the challenges here and now. That's something that has really, I think that's a big shift in my personality that I'm still working on.
Oh, good to be on the fresh air. How is it for you to be back in Stockholm? Are you here for long?
No, actually in Stockholm I've only been a week, but I spent the summer. I was very privileged to be able to go home, let's say, to my family in Skåne, southern parts of Sweden. So I had a couple of really lovely weeks there.
Yeah. Well, while we're enjoying the sun here, I actually have a question for you. Yes.
Yeah.
You're a very high energy person. I mean, the whole story, you confirmed that for me. But you have to find time to relax. And I'm just wondering, what is Emma doing for herself to relax?
Yeah.
What are Emma's moments?
Well, although I must say, a number of hours of relaxation has been considerably, smaller now with kids and stuff. But I do believe it's important. And there was someone telling me a while ago that when high energy person, when they are supposed to relax, they need to do something. They need to find an activity where they relax and really, enable themselves to be in the moment. So that's very true for me, because I'm not the person just sitting down and reflecting. I need to do something to relax. So When on top of my list, except keeping myself healthy and exercising, I love creative work. I love singing. I love music. Oh yeah, you know that, Elena.
I do know that. I actually was hoping during the whole pod that you would sing for me and demonstrate the voice. So I know that Emma has been in very many choirs, and Emma even performed ABBA songs at one of our conferences, management conferences, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So how is it going with your singing now?
Actually, right now, that's one of the things I'm not managing to spend time on. I'm not singing actively right now, except in the shower, and there's always music in my life, but not any kind of choir or anything. So that's something I want to pick up again.
But why is singing so good for you? I mean, what do you enjoy about it?
It is it's one of the few things I do where I really have to focus on the here and the now and the chords, and that's why I love singing like classical music and stuff that is a bit more difficult, because you really need to focus on your singing and how that corresponds to the rest of the choir, and you need to listen in and you need to be fully there. So it's a great way of just letting everything else go and being there and now and enjoying the moment and challenging yourself.
And classical music, is it just taking the tune, or what is it?
No, but it's about the different kind of the sounds and the totality and the lovely kind of dynamics from the music and I don't know, it just speaks to me.
Can you show how you do it?
Oh my God, Here and Now?
Yeah. Oh, please.
Okay. No, but I love musical. I love opera. So let's do this one. Angel of music, be my guardian. Na 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 na. Maybe you want to join me. Na 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 na. Yeah, something like that.
Oh, that is so fantastic. I mean, I told you she was a pro.
Oh yeah, right.
Thank you, Emma.
Thank you.
Can I ask you another thing? I mean, I'm coming again to the sort of picture perfect that you see from the outside when you look, somebody may look at you without knowing you deeply. And I would see like Emma here with her fantastic career success, top executive. I would see a loving husband that you are super happy with and who supports you. And I see two wonderful daughters, little angels, blonde. And it's just picture perfect.
That's the Instagram story, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is that perfect?
Of course
in reality?
not. Of course not. Everything is never perfect, No, there are challenges. There are lots of challenges. I think life is very much about how you deal with that. And I think I really, really try to meet things with a positive attitude. In terms of when there are challenges, I try to think about, the solution-oriented aspect of me is always there, which is sometimes also hindering me, but how can we solve it? But also, it's okay, we all have challenges.
What do you think about women sort of giving too much attention, to how they look, and then prohibiting themselves, to enjoy the life or to enjoy career opportunities? Any advice you can give to somebody who just looking in the mirror and feels, well, I don't like those extra kilos, I'm useless, or why do I look like this and this other person looks so much better, or they'll never like me, they'll never give me a job or promotion. Any advice from you?
I think this is something that I learned throughout my life. If I go back again to my childhood, I was feeling, I felt it was very unfair. Why did this happen to me? It's in my face. Throughout life, I learned to I probably learned to adapt myself. This is probably one part of me being, wanting to socialize, being extrovert, because probably I had to compensate a bit, and now, where I am right here and now, is that I feel so grateful, because it could have been much worse. And even with my specific thing, I could have been born in a country that did not support free surgery, or I could have been born 200 years ago, and I would not have had opportunities I had in my life. So in that sense, instead of feeling this kind of that everything is so unfair, I feel lucky. I feel privileged. And then I think it's coming back to this thing about how women, how we do, and I guess men do it as well. Just we need to support each other, and we need beauty is so much more about how you look. It's so much more about the outer. It's about the inner, of course, but it's also about loving yourself and getting to know yourself, and just believing in yourself and supporting people around you. I also believe, though, that with beauty and cosmetics product, we can give people that boost that they need in order to be more confident.
Absolutely.
This is why I really think it's key. So
every day.
So that's like a bigger value and reason why I really love working in this business.
Yeah. What would be the life advice, the career advice you would give to little Emma if you had the chance?
Life is about enjoying where you are as well. And sometimes when I look back, there are many really great things that happened to me that I probably did not enjoy fully when I was there, because I was always thinking about next activity, next step, next point in the diary. And that is something that I'm mindful about today. And I really try to maximize and explore and live in the moment. That was not really where I was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. And there is a second thing that I learned during my first 3 years at McKinsey that I really applied. I put it into applied networking in Oriflame, because when I joined this company, I decided that will not happen to me again. So I did spend time on my networking. I did spend time on helping others because it was fun, but also because I felt that is really the key to success. And I did spend time on making sure there were people around me that believed in me, and that's really something I would like to recommend everyone to do, of course. And I think it's especially for people that are in the beginning of their career, and make sure you spend that time helping someone else, growing networks, finding sponsors, and don't rely too much on only your people manager to kind of pave the way and find the future. You need to go for it. You need to be open. You need to have the right attitude, and you need supporters around you beyond your people manager. That's at least something. It doesn't come overnight. It's something you need to invest into, and that I think is a really key prerequisite to be successful in Oriflame.
Well, I think everywhere, isn't it? I mean, it's not only Oriflame. So basically, it's sort of manage your expectations, enjoy your achievements, and share it with others.
Yeah.
So that they can share their achievements with you.
That's right.
It's a fantastic advice, Emma. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you today, and I could spend another hour here with you. But maybe we should do then, the reshoot, and then in a year meet you and see if something changes in your life. But
sounds like a good idea.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was amazing.
Thank
Good
you.
luck with everything.
Thank you so much.